on WFNC 640 AM, or at least we hope we are. And it's great to have all of you here. We've got Deno Hondros, we've got Councilman Antonio Jones and Peter Pappas with us, who are all we need to say congratulations to for successfully moving forward into the general election. So thank you, all of you, number one, for stepping up, for serving, for being Realtors, and for just doing what you do, going above and beyond, being overachievers.
Honor.
Thank you, and congrats to the co-panelists here.
Likewise.
Yeah. So, Peter, you specialize in commercial real estate.
I do.
Any other little specializations stuck in there that may be interesting for us?
The things that I have more fun with, multifamily and then industrial stuff. Give me a building with a hole in the roof and vandalized, and that's where I live.
You can see the potential the way we do in
absolutely.
A hoarder's house.
I've had a couple of those in the apartments too. That's not fun, the hoarding.
Oh. Do you do leasing as well as sales on the commercial side?
I do. You know the size of our market. It's hard to be a specialist in that one laser focused rail. I think all of us, we just are opportunists. But no, it's I do leasing, I do sales, consulting, a lot of sometimes waving people off from their next dream, like try to, much like
you're like, it's a nightmare dressed as a dream. Run.
It's like, oh, you're looking for a restaurant. Oh, where have you done that before? Well, I haven't. Well, what do you do? Oh, I'm a janitor. Okay, so let's talk about how much. I'm not trying to count your money, brother, but what kind of funding do you have? What finance, so you start vetting the people out. So and a lot of times it ends up being a cup of coffee and a smile. Just meet, connect with people, and people come back to you years later when they are.
Well, it's all about relationships is what you're saying. And if people know you're genuine and you're sincere, then whether they end up being a client or they just end up being someone who always remembers you, right?
Correct.
That's sort of how we build successful businesses. Now, do you do any land or land development?
No, I haven't done it. Not that I wouldn't take the assignment. I have not. And that was one of my first deals, like an 80-acre tract in Lumberton. And I thought I was just hot stuff back then. It was my first deal, but I haven't done anything in a long time with that.
That's excellent. Antonio, where in your real estate world, what do you specialize in?
I am a military relocation professional, so I definitely specialize in helping our military families as they transition in and out of Fort Bragg and the surrounding areas. That's one of my niches. I love it simply because I get an opportunity to sometimes be their eyes and ears here, and so I treat them like family. I think that I like what you said earlier. It's the relationship building. I think that I like most out of all of that. You just build relationships, and just to see them when you show them the videos, if they can't be here and things of that nature, just to hear those reactions. And I go through these houses, sometimes they're like, "You're too extensive." I'm like, no, because if it were me, what would I want? And so I think that's just who I am. And so just building those relationships are key to me. So that's what I really love. And so I really, residential, of course. And again, I told Peter and Mr. Deno that I may be I'm being funny, looking at the commercial side of things as well.
I've been waiting for the phone call. I need a cup of coffee, Antonio. Let's go.
The nice thing, Antonio, about what you're saying and about us having a chat is, whereas, in the back of our heads, we may be like, oh my God, someone who wants to get into property management or commercial. And yet when we know each other and we understand each other's sort of businesses and practices, like the four of us talking right now, and one of us says, oh, I'd like to get into this, I would say, Antonio, come to my office. I will talk you through everything you need to do in property management, because I like you, I respect you, I trust you, and I want to make sure you're doing it right, because it makes us all look good, right? But normally, if, like Peter said, someone's like, I want to get into the restaurant business, we're like, let me get to know you a little bit first before I start helping.
Yeah, it definitely is true. And I did that when I jumped into property management. It's another, I won't say
Animal.
another beast. It's just
It
a,
is.
It is
but
another
it really
beast.
is. It really is. And so I enjoyed doing that. I've since kind of stopped doing that because of what I'm doing now. I don't do it as much, but I do like that aspect as well, that property management aspect, simply because, again, you can also walk those individuals that are leasing or renting, and you can help educate them through the process if they want to buy early. And I've actually had a few clients to do that. So it's rewarding all the way around. It goes back to, again, what you said, it's building relationships and really being honest. As Peter said, sometimes we have to have those honest conversations. I want a 10-bedroom home, 5-bath, and this is my budget. And so you have to be we're gentle, we're sensitive, we're also realistic, let you know what we can do and what's realistic and what's possible. It may be received sometimes, maybe not, but I think when this is why it's important to get a good licensed realtor to really walk you through those things, that can have these candid conversations with you.
Awesome. Deno, what about you? What do you specialize in?
We do commercial real estate predominantly. We've done land. I think in 23 years, I've probably sold about 6 homes, mostly for family. One I bought, one my parents bought, one my cousins bought. But most of the time, it's more of a service. I think if I refer residential business to a good residential agent because they're just more efficient, it may take me half a day to do what a good residential agent can do in 30 minutes or an hour, and vice versa. So, to piggyback on some of what Peter said and some of what Antonio said, our market here in the commercial industrial world is so small. We're kind of full service. You got to do it all: a little bit of property management, a little bit of leasing, a little bit of sales, a little bit of retail, a little bit of office, a little bit of industrial, a little bit of land. It's tough to specialize because our market here is so small compared to, the Triangle, Charlotte, Atlanta, New York. Those guys, I've met so many colleagues in those markets that some of them only do retail leasing. They don't even do retail sales, just retail leasing. Right. Others just do office sales. They don't do office leasing. They don't do any other sales. They just do office sales. And, I guess in a way that may be a good thing, but I like it better. Do a little bit of all. It keeps it all fresh. It never gets boring in commercial real estate. I think the biggest transition between the residential world and the commercial world, other than trying to keep up with both markets, is the speed or lack thereof at which the commercial market proceeds. So, where, especially in the market we're in now, you may put a house under contract in 2 days after listing it, and due diligence is up in 2 or 3 weeks, and then it closes 2 weeks after that. That's not common in commercial. I often joke with folks, sometimes it's like watching grass grow. We may get a listing, we water it and hope it gets some sunshine. That's the marketing, and it could be there for 6 months or a year or 2 years. It just depends
for 6 years.
what it is and where it's at. And I think we touched on this last time, talking about real estate in general. It's been said that it's an information business. The more information we can share with each other, typically the smoother the transactions go, and with clients as well. But it's also a relationship business. So another thing we touched on was property management. I think anyone that's ever been in property management would probably agree that it's a good place to forge those relationships. And that generates business down the road, right? Referrals, somebody rents, you treat them well as a property manager, they're ready to buy something. Hopefully they'll call you, but it's also very tedious and time consuming. So it's like I tell my 10-year-old son, the money, he's doing little chores, saving up some money. The money you spend on one thing, you can't spend on something else because it's a finite resource. And this is the same thing with time. The time we invest in property management, the time we invest in residential, the time we invest in commercial, that's less time we have for other things. So it's fun though.
Excellent. Yeah.